Welcome back to Around the Table with Stacy Smith. We are talking about investing and the economy. And this past week, as the markets were climbing higher, there was a major setback in a company that deals with cryptocurrency. FTX filed for bankruptcy. A company filing for bankruptcy, though, is not necessarily unique. A lot of companies now, also in their 401ks, are allowing investors to put money into cryptocurrencies. So, Bob, your thoughts on investing in cryptocurrencies?
In the retirement plan or in general?
In general, let's start with that.
It's a very high risk investment. And if you have an appetite for that type of risk, now the FTX filing bankruptcy did not impact the underlying investment of cryptocurrencies, but it does speak to the dynamics and the finances of the industry that's upholding that. And as we've said, all three of us have said over time, and Kim did too, there's a high risk in an unregulated marketplace like crypto. And I would also suggest that it's not a lot of companies are allowing crypto in retirement plans because it's contraindicated. High risk belongs in your personal portfolio to where if you suffer a loss, at least you can deduct the loss on your tax return. In your retirement plan, you suffer the whole loss. Retirement plans are for secure, stable money over time. And also the Department of Labor is looking very closely at the idea of putting that in. There's only one major platform that allows crypto, and all of the others are avoiding it. And the DOL is looking hard. So don't put it in a retirement plan. If you're going to own it personally, and but you better know that you can handle the risk. Great volatility in that underlying investment.
The risk. Go ahead, Carrie.
I was just going to say, this is a really interesting topic because people love talking about Bitcoin and crypto when it's going up. But after what's happened and it's crashed, those people kind of crawl into a hole and don't really talk about it. And this is really easy for me, right? If I can't understand something and explain it, and I've tried really hard, and I know a lot of really smart people that have tried really hard, but I can't understand it. And when, you can't, evidently the guy who founded Bitcoin disappeared.
Okay, Carrie just froze on us here for a second. So Frank, you want to go ahead and pick up or say something?
That people say, well, blockchain is on various computers. And I'm like, well, where are the computers? Like, no one can answer these questions for me. So I'm open if someone can explain it. But it's basically gambling at this point.
The only interesting thing that crypto brings to the table is the blockchain component. And it was more interesting a year ago when we talked about it than it is today, because since a year ago, when I believed, or I bought the bill of goods, I guess, that it was unhackable, it got hacked. So now the security of the thing is in question in my mind, which means if it's not the end all to beat all from a security point of view, what do we need something else that is insecure out there for? I mean, it's just putting layer upon layer of insecurity. It's tough enough to deal with the stuff that we're using right now that we don't understand.
This is the currency of drug dealers and other criminal activities. And if you're going to swim in a cesspool, you're going to attract some odor. You don't want to be part of that. Wait until it becomes regulated and it becomes like any other stable market that you can quantify your risk.
Well, it's interesting also because the Fed has said that it wants to take a look at a digital kind of currency down the road here. So is this just
U.S. sponsored government like the U.S. dollar?
Well,
not what's out there now.
Right. I say, but is this maybe just laying the groundwork for making the base for something like that down the road?
It could be very legitimate if, again, it's regulated and it's transparent, and it is the equivalent of any other market. And you can make a choice as to whether you want to be in that high risk market, but at least you can count on, as Carrie said, what you could see it, you understand how it's created, you understand how it's regulated, then you can make a legitimate decision. But right now, this stuff's being farmed, as they call it, in old warehouses with racks full of computers and eating up great gobs of energy, and nobody knows how it's created.
And in a way, Stacy, the electronic payment systems that we are all getting dragged into, whether we like it or not, and I'm one that doesn't like it, and my children call me a dinosaur, and they're right. And but this is effectively an electronic currency, and what may be happening is the paper money that we have in our pocket may become electronic money, and we may just have credit cards of sorts to cash and pay for things as we do now. That effectively is electronic money, which is what crypto is, I think.
Well, yeah, we've already.
You can't fight progress, but it's got to be plannable progress that isn't going to take your money away and make it disappear.
Yeah,
I think
go ahead, Carrie.
I think there's a kind of a misconception when we talk about the U.S. government sponsoring a digital dollar that, you know, is that cryptocurrency or is it not? Whereas Bob
That's
said,
a good distinction. That's a good distinction, Carrie. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is really just another way of transmitting dollars, not
Like tapping your charge card on the, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, already, if you have a phone, and especially with Apple phones, I know, you know, you put your credit cards right on there. You just, you know, wave it in front of this reader, and then everything's just done like that. There's no transaction that of any cash at all.
Yeah, your itinerary at the airlines, the whole thing.
Yes.
That's fine. That,
You
it's
know,
already.
I use an Android, and it works there too.
Okay, good.
I don't use it that way. I don't use it that way, mind you.
No, of course not. Dinosaurs
Well,
would not do that.
The other form of payment that we already have that a lot of people use, and I have to use it because that's what my daughter uses, is Venmo. You know, just the Venmo platform where I can send money to any of you right now directly. So those types of payment methods really will help to maybe reduce costs, right? Because there's not an intermediary. I can just pay you directly electronically versus having to use my credit card and have the fees associated. So we're getting there.
Yep. Well, listen, if you need my email address to send me some of that cash, I'll give it to you right away. And we'll take a break. We'll be back in just a moment.